And spawning in the bottom right Saturn side, it's your red Terran from Team NV. His name is Bunny. And top left, the blue Terran, also hailing from Team NV. His name is MARU. Alright, so, this, of course, is the lower bracket. I believe round 2 of the next SC2 Masters Spring Qualifiers, Korean Qualifiers. MARU versus Bunny is a best of 3. Loser of this is knocked out of the qualifiers. Winner is going to be going on to face, well, I believe a whole bunch of Protoss on the other side of the bracket. But with that being said, this is a very exciting matchup. So I really like talking about TBT, especially because there's a lot of variance with the builds that people can go, and with how they handle mid-game transitions and different timings and things like that. It makes it a very, very interactive matchup. And I also think it helps that we have 2 really, really interesting players. Bunny, of course, was for a while kind of just slightly below the level of other Terrans. He wasn't, he wasn't on the same level as your Beyond, your MARU, your Innovation, or your TY, but he was good. He would take series, he would take maps off some very, very good players occasionally, but it was never consistent. That being said, he joined Team NV and has started having some really, really solid results. He's been performing extremely impressively. Him alongside, I would say, the other Terran that's really started to kind of come up and perform well would be Dream. Dream is, made his first ever round of 4. If you haven't seen that semifinals match they played, a bit of a spoiler warning, but, made it to his first ever round of 4, brought Rogue to a game 7. Looked absolutely, really, 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 really good. And he's been continually performing well. Dream's TVT. He beat Cure twice in GSL. Lost to MARU 2-1. Dream and Bunny, these 2 players who've kind of always been, I think, a little bit lower on everyone's tier list, they're really starting to just play well. And I think that is good because it's variety, it's difference now. We're getting new Terrans that are really stepping up, and that's really awesome. And of course, another thing that makes this matchup in particular really interesting is that they're teammates. Both MARU and Bunny on Team NV, so they will practice together. They will scrim against each other. So I'm not sure how that's going to influence the play. Because, there's always a chance that, well, because they know each other's builds and they practice against each other, that they might just play like 2-3 completely standard macro games in a row. Because they know that if they do something or try and do something tricky, their teammate is going to know what it is and know how to counter it. So that's very much a possibility. Now, in this game, it is very much standard macro. We do have a few differences in the openings. For instance, you have the Cyclone first out of Bunny, and for MARU, he's actually going to be going for an early Widow Mine. The Widow Mine does just offer a bit of extra defense if there's an early, for instance, Bunny went with 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions and tried to push, that Widow Mine would be able to counter that pretty heartily. And this also just provides a little bit of an extra layer of defense against any sort of sub 430 push out, which we are seeing here from Bunny. He has 2 Reapers and Hellion, has built that early Cyclone, and is going to have, I believe, should have 6, but only has 5. Oh no, there it is, sorry. And then is going to have 6 Marines and a Medivac. So Bunny actually with a really, really interesting attack here. And as you see, MARU actually going to be able to scout that out with one of his Reapers, but ooh, yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Bunny, so gonna go for just a 6 Marine drop into the main base, and also gonna try and push up the front ramp. So this is a pretty potent timing attack. Now you do see MARU here actually positioned really interesting, or interestingly, you see that he has the Hellion on top of the Widow Mine, and all that means is Bunny can't really see it. So we'll see as Bunny goes to push up the target. Oh, the retarget onto the Reaper. Oh, that was a beautiful mine drag. Bunny showing a bit of his Zerg skill there as he drags the mine onto MARU's Reapers, manages to clean up all of them, and now has 2 Cyclones still available here. Drop on into the main, not going to get too much immediate damage. Gonna get 2 SCVs. The Cyclone's gonna be pushing on in. These Marines gonna have to get on out. 3 SCVs going down in total, 1 Cyclone getting low. But Bunny with a super solid push. It's not a ton of damage, but it's a good amount because behind this, Bunny has his 3rd CC coming up and has his Raven production on the way. Tanks also starting for both of the players, although I believe... Yeah, should be about even for both. I was going to say, I believe Bunny has a slight advantage in the amount of tanks he's going to have, but it's not really going to make a difference. Both of them are going to have 2 tanks around the same time if either of them decides to push. And behind this, looks like Bunny perfectly content off of that very nice little bit of harass. You know, you get 4 workers, you even up the worker count from your earlier committal into more units, and at the same time, you also keep more of your army alive. It's just all around worth for Bunny, and he's just to say, all right, well, I'm just going to macro up here now and get on into my tech. You do see stim coming down for both players. Bunny actually has a bit of an earlier timing on these 2 barracks, and so usually what you'll see around this stage of the game, right around the 6-minute mark, is both Terrans are going to want to put down their 2nd and 3rd racks. You see that MARU's is actually about 25 seconds delayed. It's not a huge amount. It would be more of a deal if it was about a minute late, but you see MARU had a little bit less money available there, and I think that was because he had to rebuild so many units. I'm not sure though, but Bunny just has a better timing there, so he's going to have more Marines out a bit quicker, and you now see he's also going to be harassing this 3rd base. Just a nice little poke, knows the 3rd's going down, and is actually going to be pushing out. Oh, this push might be dangerous. What does MARU have to defend this? We'll have to see. 4 versus 3 tanks, 2 Ravens versus 2 Ravens. MARU, more Vikings, but double the Marine count for Bunny here. We'll have to see how Bunny starts off the engagement. MARU has no idea about this, has no vision, so here comes the push, here comes the scan. Gonna be immediately 2 interference matrices, and that's the 3rd lifted off. Already a huge win here for Bunny, and now you see actually, oh, is that tank gonna get focused down? Bunny! The Cyclone Micro picks off 2 tanks as well. Already a massive win for our Red Terran. And MARU here on the back foot. He's gonna just have to, he's just gonna have to flip the CC over to the other 3rd. In this position, you don't see Terrans really take it in TVT because it's so much easier to attack. You have 1 path here, you have 1 path here, you have 1 path here. It's super hard to cover them all. The opponent can get a lot of surface area, plus clearing out these rocks for even more. Just makes it very difficult, as we are going to see a single medevac here boosting on into the main base. And at the same time, Bunny taking a 4th base, just taking this advantage and absolutely running with it. Stims on in, going to be able to clean up quite a few workers. Already 5 going down, 6 SCVs, 9, 10, 11. Oh my god, MARU pulls the SCVs into the Marines. That's 12 SCV kills. MARU still can't clean up this front. And Bunny's loading up another double drop. Oh, and this one's going to be going straight. I mean, I think it's going straight towards the natural, but that should scout out this additional base. Or the retake in 3rd. Now you do see MARU. Ooh, a great series of interference matrices. Saves up enough energy. He's going to be able to siege down all of these tanks. Bunny getting his position cleaned up, but at the same time, here's the drop onto the 3rd base, and Bunny once again going to deny the mining from MARU. Is MARU going to try and push in? SCVs actually not getting focused down. The CC's getting focused down, but the repair onto the CC. MARU actually micros this beautifully, but now you have Ravens and Vikings on into the main base. 5 more workers going down. Somehow MARU's still at 62 workers. He's not even that far behind. And he's actually going to be able to clean up this Air Force as well. Only a 9-worker lead for Bunny, though. That's absolutely insane. He's killed 24 workers. And MARU's still ahead. He's still not that far behind. That is crazy. Of course, the big issue is now for MARU that Bunny has the 4th base up. And you see behind this, Bunny, I believe, is right now at least on, yeah, both of them on 5 racks. But Bunny now adding on a second factory as well. Both players going to be trying to get up in there too, but I mean, MARU actually going to decide to push here. He says this is the time to pull the trigger, and I mean, it definitely seems like it. He has a better air force, has more tanks. Feels like he can siege us down, but actually, oh my god, Bunny slipped a double drop on into the main base. Marines trying to focus down the Liberators. The SCV block not good enough. And that's going to be 12 more SCVs going down, 14, and now the losses are starting to come through. And suddenly, MARU leaves his tanks, unsieges them at the exact wrong time. The SCV pull, the tank chase, Bunny. Gonna force the tap out from MARU, and that's gonna be game 1 going over to Bunny. What a crazy game. Now I'm gonna see if he can try and close it out in the top right. It is the aforementioned player, Bunny. In the bottom left, it's the Blue Terran. Down 0-1, has to try and make the comeback here to keep his hopes alive in this qualifier. It is MARU. Alright, so 2000 Atmospheres is actually a map that I really did want to talk about because it is interesting in TVT. Maru's actually not going to give me enough time to talk about it, so we'll save that for later as we have a sneaky little SCV making his way on in here, getting vision, and going to place down a proxy barracks. Of course, this isn't, this isn't a build that's meant to kill the opposing Terran. This is meant to pressure, see what damage you can get done, and try and get a few pickoffs if possible. You have Bunny actually sending out an SCV scout. We'll see where that is actually rallied to. Might just be across the map to go see what his opponent is doing. But yeah, this build for MARU, again, it's not going to kill Bunny. As long as Bunny has good macro, has good micro, it doesn't really matter. He should be able to hold off. He'll have 2 Reapers out when the second one is just about arriving from MARU. It'll be a little bit off in the timing. But all in all, he should be able to. He shouldn't take too much damage from it. If both players micro this well. Of course, we'll have to see how it actually ends up going, because really what MARU's trying to do is just trying to get a slight tempo advantage off of this. Of course, his tech will be delayed, as will his expansion, I believe. Actually, no, MARU's expansion might actually be ahead here. Because Bunny didn't go for a quick expand here. He's going for the double gas into the immediate factory. So yeah, MARU actually is not going to be isn't going to be actually delayed on that CC, which is obviously good news for him. But now you have 2 Reapers moving across the map, and again, this is trying to see what damage they can get done. If you pick off Reaper, that's great. You can try and start to snowball it, but it should just be a delay on the CC. MARU here, yeah, has an SCV and 2 Reapers. Bunny can't really push down. MARU can't push up. So all that MARU will do is delay the CC, but that's already kind of a win here for MARU, considering that his command center is also on the low ground and is going to be building non-stop. As the Hellion out means that not too much more damage can be done, and you are seeing here now the delayed tech for MARU, with the factory only just now starting alongside the starport of Bunny, which is usually how this 2 racks does end up panning out. But all in all, I mean, not the opening kind of negligible. There's 1 SCV kill. MARU invests the barracks across the map. He will be able to scout out his opponent's base with it. But both of them are going to be getting up their CCs. Both of them will be getting up their tech. And that's really about it. I don't think there's too much to say about it. The opening kind of just cancels itself out. Bunny defends well. MARU delays the CC. His will be up a little bit sooner. So you'll have that slight mining advantage, which means that he'll be able to get out. He'll eventually be able to catch up in that unit production. As I believe we are going to be seeing the same push here from Bunny. He's going for that Cyclone first into his medevac, and then has also the 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions this time with it. So yeah, this should be a very, very similar push here for Bunny, I imagine. Although, actually, is this a fake drop? This might be a fake drop. Okay, no, just a scout. Makes sense, makes sense. Bunny gonna be scouting around, seeing if there's any more proxies, knowing that MARU, he's the type of individual that if he wanted to, would definitely place down a proxy starport after the proxy racks doesn't really get too much done. But, oh my. That's actually a really quick 3rd CC for MARU. That is extremely fast. That's a 4:30. I think even before that, probably round about a 4-minute CC. I don't think there's much that Bunny can do to punish. I mean, Bunny didn't go for early tanks. He went for the Cyclone first. He was so worried about scouting out to see if there's any more proxies that he didn't end up actually having anything to push. You now see this medevac scouting out is going to see that that natural base is up. And yeah, I mean, MARU just has a ridiculously faster 3rd base. This is going to be, if Bunny doesn't actually manage to, you know, stop this from going down easily, this might be really rough for Bunny. He's going to be very, very far behind in the macro sense. And, I mean, yeah, I mean, Bunny, of course, he has a bigger army, but he's actually down a tank. So, I don't know. I mean, I think this is good for MARU. I think, all in all, this pans out well for our Blue Terran. He's going to have that base on site just a bit sooner. Going to have more mules available. Just going to have a tempo advantage in the macro. And we'll see how that pans out. You also see, actually, MARU, this is interesting. You don't really see Terrans do this, where MARU is actually going for double NG bay. Oh. We've all done it. We've all done it. All of us Terrans have done this at one point. But anyway, as I was saying, it's interesting because you are seeing MARU go for his +1/+1 before the stim pack. Which, you know, usually, of course, you do see players prioritize that stim pack because it's so useful for the Marines. But MARU is saying, actually, I want to get my upgrades sooner. I think those are going to be more important to me. Which I find very, very fascinating. Ooh, Bunny. Oh. This is a Bunny move if I've ever seen one. 3 medevacs loaded up. That's going to be 3 tanks. And I believe right around what? I mean, 9 Marines? 12 Marines. This... there's no defenses here. This might get a whole lot of damage done. MARU immediately going to be pulling the SCVs, but there's nothing in here for defense. That's going to be a cancel on that building barracks. And already you have 7 workers going down. MARU got to see what he can do to defend this. Interference matrix is on 2 of the tanks, but there's still a 3rd one there in the back that can keep shelling away. 1 tank goes down. Raven's trying to keep MARU away at the same time. Actually, Bunny going to be committing here onto the 3rd. Should be able to clean up all of these tanks. As his force in the main still going, still getting more SCV kills. 12 go down. And here at the front, we'll have to see Marines coming. I don't actually know if that's enough Marines to hold this off, and the landed Viking as well. 13 SCVs in total falling. But MARU survives, and MARU survives with more workers. MARU was non-stop producing. He was non-stop producing SCVs during all of that. Actually ends up with a 5-worker advantage. Evens out the supply count. Oh, but now you have the second follow-up push here. Another tank coming through. More landed Vikings, more Marines. And MARU, he doesn't have his stim yet. Bunny does. MARU going to have to bring in his 3 tanks there that were in the main. He's going to try and get them in here, but the Vikings can push onto the CC. The tank is there already. MARU. Repairs are good. We'll have to see. And Bunny's just going to back up. MARU, once again, able to hold. And still has the worker lead, has the bigger army. Somehow, I mean, I don't know how MARU does it, but somehow, amidst getting pushed from 2 areas, manages to perfectly defend the drop in the main without losing. I mean, he lost a lot of workers. He lost, I mean, how many did he lose? lost 13 workers, but he's still on 70. I think MARU defended that, I mean, pretty much as well as anyone could have. I don't think you could ask for a better defense there. You know, both players going to be heading on into their 2-2 upgrades. This shouldn't be any delayed for Bunny. It should actually be starting right around the same time for both, as Bunny has already started his 4th base. Going to be having that on site. And MARU just trying to see what he can do here to macro up. Is pushing out with the small little force here. Should actually be able to intercept the one of Bunny. Has more Marines available to him. Won't be able to do much more than just chase it down. And you are seeing most of the tanks being kept at home in case there is a counter attack. Now you do see MARU here with a quicker, I believe, quicker second factory. Yeah. Bunny not adding on his for that additional tank production just yet. Excuse me as I had to sneeze there, but you have the +2/+2 coming on for both players. Additional CC's going to be finishing up, and MARU, I believe, actually, yeah, still finishing up his 4th one. I thought he might have added on a second, but no. But has more tanks, and in TVT, having that additional tank production is very, very important. Even in the late game, if you have to take advantage, it means that you're more easily able to transition into the late game air army, because you're not worried about rebuilding them. So, as this game kind of starts to lull down, we are going to see a push out here from MARU, but I do want to talk a little bit about 2,000 Atmospheres as we get towards the 11th minute. Because I think it is a very, very interesting map, and it actually reminds me a lot of Oxide. I know the maps are different as, you know, in shape definitely, and in look. We are going to see MARU push in here, though. Going to get that immediate interference matrix onto 2 tanks and push his forward. One tank can be saved by Bunny, but the other's going to get shelled down. But I don't think there's much MARU can do to really push in here. He can definitely continue to, you know, siege this base, but the repairs will be there and MARU can't push. But what I did want to talk about, and this is actually a good spot to kind of showcase it, is that this map is very similar to Oxide. Because on Oxide, you also have this kind of 3rd base here with the rocks creating the smaller choke that can then be cleared. Oh no, MARU left his tanks behind. I think he F2'd the rest of his army to try and go deal with that counterattack from Bunny, which, you know, did eventually get cleaned up, but loses all of his tanks. That's a huge loss there for MARU. As I was saying, you have this 3rd base with the rocks they can be pushed onto that's on the high ground and then leads into a low ground base right beside it. You also have, you know, this other low ground 3rd option, which has 2 attack paths into it. Of course, on Oxide, there's an additional pillar, and that's split up into 2. But, you know, it's kind of the same, and you even have that same foliage right around to this side, which leads into the main ramp, leading into this dead space between all the bases. And I could explain it better if I could look at Oxide, but the maps are actually very similar. With that being said, Bunny, he's actually just going to be able to push right on into this little choke point and hemorrhage his units right in between all of the bases. He's not going to be able to push into the natural because MARU's in position, but MARU also can't push this down. This is a great spot for Bunny. As you're going to see one of Bunny's tanks start to get fired at. MARU getting the better end of that, is also going to be pushing down here onto this small group of units. Bunny just managing this fight the best he can, using his tanks in this choked position to really stop MARU from reinforcing. You're now seeing a lift up on this base. Oh, you can snipe that. Maybe not. The planetary fortress is there. And Bunny getting some great damage done. Although, can't really push any more forward from this point. You are going to have to back up now as MARU is in position, has his defenses ready, has his forces ready to collapse on in if you try and push. And at the same time, you actually see MARU with a nice counterattack here. Going to be seeing what damage he can do, trying to get his Marines into the same position. As those tanks sieging up, Bunny now onto the third base. There's not a lot here, just a single tank. It's immediately going to be stimmed on top of. Tank is cleaned up, more coming through. Should be able to clean up the rest of the Marines, and Bunny can't do too much more with that push. At the same time, MARU going to be able to snipe at least one of the factories away as both players losing 12 workers. Still these Marines stopping MARU from mining at his 4th base, while Bunny is mining with no worries in the world. Has a 5th base coming up as well. And this split from Bunny gonna force a liftoff. Bunny just, I mean, wonderful positioning here. Has to pick up, has to leave because these Marines coming in. Oh no! The siege tanks get caught out. That's 4 free siege tanks for MARU. Vikings stop these units from going in, but now MARU not deciding to stim on in. Gonna pull on out. But 15 workers killed for Bunny. Overall, 32 to 13 workers killed. Bunny looking like he's in a wonderful spot this game. I mean, has the 5th base coming up, has his 3-3 already completed, while MARU is still working on his. MARU's only advantage really here is that he does have his +2 vehicle weapons finished. And +2 vehicle weapons, of course, is what allows your tanks to one-shot Marines. It's a pretty useful upgrade. MARU at the same time also has been working on his +2, or his vehicle and ship plating, as Bunny pushing into the 3rd once again, forces a liftoff again. Gonna try and stim down the CC. The repair comes in. It's just barely enough. But Bunny kicking MARU back onto 3 bases. Liberator is going to be sieged. And MARU does have the air advantage. It's one thing to keep in mind. MARU does have the air advantage. He does have more Vikings, does have more Ravens. I believe actually, if you're looking at the total army, it's 11 Vikings to 3. So Bunny, once he sieges up, can't really do much more to get in position. As that being said, oh, Bunny's deciding to fight this. I don't know if this is the fight you want to take, Bunny. You're far ahead, but you're not that far ahead. Is MARU going to be able to wipe out those few tanks? Going to be able to try and pick off one more. It's going to go down. And now he's going to push straight on into the 4th base. Bunny takes a pretty disastrous fight. But MARU deciding not to actually collapse there onto the base. Going to pull back and try and macro back up. Reestablish his 4th. Get up a 5th as well, which actually... yeah, this was the base that was burning from the 4th position. But you now have MARU as well, working on his +1 ship attacks, ship weapons. And, you know, you gotta feel like even though MARU right now is down in bases by quite a bit, and obviously Bunny's macro will start to kick in, you gotta be liking his position just, with the upgrades. Because if you're looking at these upgrades, I mean, Bunny still hasn't started his +2, and I can't help but feel that that is an oversight, because Bunny has the money for it, and that will allow, and that just makes your tanks so much more efficient. That +2 is so important for allowing your tanks to have more use in these fights, and if you don't have it, well, if you don't have it, then MARU's just going to win the tank war. He's going to win the ground war, and MARU also is already winning the air war. Alright, there we go. +2 finally started up here for Bunny, but it is so delayed. Of course, Bunny still has the macro advantage, which is the kind of saving grace for him. You see, right now, he's already floating around, 15,000 minerals, and actually he's going to be able to pick off the sensor tower here. Get a pick off on one of MARU's tanks. Oh. Gonna find trades 2 tanks for one, as one has a bad rally there, but overall, Bunny making it work. The banks are starting to equal out as MARU is now max himself. Another tank sent up to the surface. As I said, I believe an underwater map, maybe just a zero gravity map. Not sure. MARU, a small little drop here, trying to see what damage he can get done. At the same time, Bunny also gonna drop on in. Ooh, can he focus down the armory? There we go. The retarget onto the armory is going to get that cleared up. But the tank Gonna be able to clean up that force. And MARU actually still being annoying here with this little drop. Gets 3 workers. He's gonna delay some mining before it's eventually cleaned up. As we're having the upgrades come through, Bunny getting canceled there on 2 bases. Ooh, Liberator sieging up, gets the tank. It's a big win for MARU. Is, again, has the air dominance. He can start to push this. Ooh, losing a few Vikings there for no reason. Just not keeping track of it. Also, ooh, gonna lose the Liberator. Oh! Never mind. That's a 6 health Liberator. It survives. The Liberator pilot there has seen it all. As I believe that was just a straight up kill on the building base, and MARU still being annoying here with these drops to see if he can cancel 2 more. They're building Bunny. Oh, Bunny's going for the exact same position. He recognizes that MARU is out of position, and he's going to try and get on in here and see how much damage he can do. I mean, he has an equal Raven count to MARU. If you're looking at this units tab, it's 8-6. He actually has more. He's going to interference matrix on MARU's tank, put down the auto turrets. What? Where did the Marines go? Wait, where did Bunny's Marines go? Oh, they all ran into 2 tanks at the natural. That is brutal. Bunny doesn't really have any more support left here for these tanks. I don't know if I like Bunny staying here. These tanks don't have anything to support them. You're pushing into the 3rd. Oh, this is a dangerous position, Bunny. Trying to do the best that he can to keep it. Oh, but I mean, yeah, all the tanks are just going to get interference matrixed. Auto turrets going down for Bunny, but it doesn't matter. Again, there's no support for the tanks. Those interference matrices get, I mean, just disable everything. The auto turrets get cleaned up. MARU going to wipe this position. And suddenly, all of Bunny's bank is gone. There's no more money left here for Bunny. Oh, Bunny, I mean, you're trying to hold this position, but you just can't. 2 more interference matrices go down. MARU just has more Ravens available. He has more energy. He's going to keep pushing here. There's nothing left for Bunny. He just doesn't have anything. He tried to push into that position, and again, leaving the tanks with no Marines, with the Ravens not in a good position, they just got cleaned up. MARU pulled the trigger. Of course, Bunny does still have more bases. He is still mining more than his opponent, so he can start to remake this army. This base, though, is going to get sieged down. Not a lot that Bunny can do about this. Doesn't have tanks in position. And MARU's whole army is here. Although, MARU actually backing up. And of course, it's always, you can always tell a good player when he knows when to stop. When a player knows when to get out. When to not push anymore. But I feel like MARU really could have pushed this advantage a bit more. Of course, securing the lead that he has. MARU has remaxed. He is going to be, getting back towards building up that bank. And that being said, this is a really nice drop here by Bunny on into the 7th base of MARU. Oh, gonna try and focus down the planetary. Oh, the repair coming through. I don't know if it's enough. Focus down on the SCVs. Oh, a nice little juggle there from MARU, keeping the SCVs alive. Only 3 of them repairing, though. The DPS from the Marines, they're not gonna be stimmed anymore. It's down to 100 health, but I don't know if it's enough. The repairs coming through. The reinforcements are here. And at the same time, Bunny, he's trying to push in again. He's going for the same spot, but you just can't. MARU is already in position. MARU is already ready for it. And it's 11 workers there for 2 medevacs full of Marines. And now Bunny trying to push once again on into this 3rd. He has tried to use this position so many times. Oh my god. Everything is shut down. Everything is disabled. MARU just gonna crush this fight. There is absolutely nothing that Bunny can do. And Bunny trying to make things happen with a worse army, with a weaker force, gets cleaned up. And now, I mean, you have a 60 supply advantage here for MARU. You have the gas bank for MARU. You have MARU being maxed out. He's going to be able to build up his mineral bank as well. I don't see Bunny being able to hold this. It's 10 tanks to 7, 44 Marines to 32, and complete air dominance for MARU. He has kept his Vikings alive. He has kept his Ravens alive. As you see, he's just going to push on down, and he's going to try and take down this planetary fortress. Not even going to need to split the Marines, because the DPS is there, but at the same time, Bunny going to see what he can do to clear up this army. Taking a lot of shells, and you're starting to see that +2. Cleaning up so many Marines. As MARU is producing 3 Ravens, 3 Vikings at a time, 2 tanks, 10 Marines, in the full swing of productions, and oh my god. 18 kill tank has just slipped on into the 5th base of Bunny and gotten so much damage done. That is ridiculous. That's 30 workers killed, a base being denied, or base being killed, mining being denied, and now Bunny's going to try and push again. But again, Bunny, you don't have anything left. This is all that he has, and there is just too much for MARU. Interference makes his go down. There are no tanks left alive. Everything is going to get cleaned up and wiped once again. MARU, winning every single engagement for the past 10 minutes, is going to take game number 2. So, Oxide and 2000 Atmospheres are incredibly similar maps. This is the point that I will. This is the hill I die on. I actually really enjoy it though, because they're 2 maps that are very, very similar, but oftentimes get played out very differently. And a lot of that has to do with the positioning of the high ground versus where you have dips in the high ground, or you have dips to low ground on either map. So, first off, similarities. You have the immediate natural, that you then have the low ground 3rd from the main, and the high ground 3rd that is directly right or left of your natural base. Those are the immediate similarities, as well as having this low ground 5th base from the on this right side of the map, and the high ground 5th base on the right side of the map. Those are the immediate similarities with base positioning and the kind of the level of the terrain that they're on. You also have, the same destructible rocks here that create a bit of a choke. You have as well the angles to push on into this 3rd base. There are a bit more on this map. There's 2 coming from the front and then 1 from the side, but still similar, not exactly the same. And then you also have this chunk of high ground that is actually on 2000 Atmospheres. It is connected by a bridge right around here. They actually meet up. These are in the same spot. But you still have this chain of high ground that then leads to this low ground. Now, of course, 2000 Atmospheres is a much wider map, which is why I think oftentimes you do see it go into a bit more of a macro game. It's harder to finish off your opponents because you have 2 additional bases on the right and left side, respectively, where Oxide ends. And so let's talk about the differences. You saw there on the last map, Bunny constantly tried to push into this position. Now on 2000 Atmospheres, this is a high ground position, and this ramp is from a low ground. There is a dip in the low ground right here on 2000 Atmospheres, where it's the opposite on Oxide. Now what does that mean? That means this position is actually not as good as it is on 2000 Atmospheres. Because not only do you have to destroy these rocks, but if you push down into here, you can get attacked from high ground here, and then it's pretty much even terrain here. It makes it a lot more awkward to push into this spot, and even once you do get in there, it's a lot easier for the opponent to break it. That being said, that also does mean that the high ground here is very, very nice for sieging. You can hit just about to where a player will have tanks from the high ground, if you have a tank position there, and vice versa on the opposite side of the map. But that's really the main difference, is this extended low ground area actually means that it's a lot harder to push on this map. So oftentimes, you know, while of course 2,000 atmospheres is bigger, I think it's a slightly bigger map, which is why, you know, players have more time to rebuild after losing a fight. On this map, it is just harder to push because of this low ground, because of how everything is positioned. You're going to constantly be pushing up ramps where your opponent has a defensive advantage. Now, if we look at this game so far, we had the exact same openings from either players. You had the double gas into the 2 Reapers and a single Hellion. And you also have both players going to be going, I believe, for a tank and a medevac and Marines. So this is actually exactly the same build from both players. This is a nice build to try and get early damage if your opponent is out of position. If they build a Cyclone first, this tank can actually do a lot. And we're seeing MARU here. He's actually going to be the initiator, but he has less Marines. That could always be dangerous, immediately losing the Hellion. And now pushing in here again. Not as much DPS on the side of MARU. He's going to have to pick up and get on out of dodge. Bunny taking a very, very good fight there at the start of the game. As we're going to see how this engagement plays out, you now have the Cyclone in position for MARU, which is very, very dangerous. You can micro against it, as we're seeing there with the pickups on the medevac, but still, the army there for Bunny. Not able to beat that defender's advantage, and you're seeing both players back up. Ravens starting for both, Siege Tanks as well, and Bunny this time is going to be the one with the faster 3rd CC on the low ground. MARU, though, not going to be too much farther behind. So both players really on very, very similar paths here, and pretty much on the exact same timings as well. That being said, I do believe MARU has a slight advantage here in the tank production. Already has 2 out. He's building a 3rd, while Bunny only has 2 on the map. And actually, Bunny, oh no. Oh, Bunny's pushing back into his natural and sending out a drop. MARU's still across the map. MARU hasn't actually gone back to his own base. He's just, this is a cancel. He just cancels the 3rd CC. This is huge by MARU. That's massive. Because now Bunny, he has to remake the CC on the high ground. And MARU's 3rd, it's already mostly done. That's actually a massive cancel. Oh my. Now you have the drop here on into the natural base from Bunny. Gonna see how much damage he can get done. Already gets 1 SCV. Gonna find a 2nd as well. The Raven and a few Marines are here as the tank gonna come down, and tanks, they don't really kill Marines too quickly with a medevac. As SCV is gonna now get focused down as they're trying to repair the tank. 7 SCVs go down. And the medevac lifting up and getting on out of dodge. 8 workers killed. Bunny gonna be able to get himself a worker advantage. But of course, the issue is that 3rd base is finished, and it is up for MARU. This is going to start mining very, very soon. And you see Bunny, well, Bunny recognized that. He's actually going to push out with a very, very strong force here. 2 Ravens to 2 Ravens, 2 Vikings to 2 Vikings, 4 tanks each, but can't help but feel like there is a bit of an attacker's advantage here, especially with MARU being so out of position. 2 of his tanks not going to be able to help this fight when Bunny comes in, as MARU did clean up that drop in the main. Ooh, I don't know if the scan caught the tail end of those units. But now Bunny trying to position around this Marine, gonna be able to see everything, and MARU positioning himself correctly in order to deal with that. Bunny's trying to work his way. Oh, sorry. Let me retry that. Bunny gonna try and work his way around and see what he can find for damage. And I don't know, in this positioning we're just not feeling like he's getting too much success. Of course, behind this has been able to establish his 3rd, which is very, very nice. And of course, Bunny gonna be able to take a sigh of relief as that starts coming up, and he starts mining from it. But now this push here onto the high ground, immediate scan going down for MARU, and 2 interference matrices, but instead it's the auto turrets for Bunny that managed to pick off one of the tanks. You're now gonna see MARU get a pick of his own. 2nd tank gonna go down for Bunny actually as he pushes. MARU getting the better end of that, as now it's 4 tanks versus 3. Bunny Let's try and see what he can do to move forward. Oh, the perfectly timed scan. MARU doing a very good job of winning this tank war. And actually, MARU's going to push this. MARU just going to go for it. Moves forward, sieges the tanks, uses the SCVs to bait the tank shots and tank them for just long enough that he can clean up all the tanks. Loses 2 of his own, but completely decimates that position for Bunny. A wonderful cleanup from MARU. And once again, showing how good he is at defending these spots. It's so hard to push against MARU. It's so hard. And I think that is kind of, MARU is considered one of the best defensive Terrans. At least in TVT. I do think that MARU has been struggling a bit recently in his TVZ. You've actually seen him start to kind of fall back into his TVT playstyle, where he tries to play very, very defensive, setting out a few pushes here and there and maybe a drop. But other than that, he just tries to defend, and that hasn't been working as well for him in TVZ. But in TVT, you're just seeing just how strong he is when he's able to defend. And now you see this double drop heading on into the main base. There is already a tank here for Bunny, but there's a whole lot of Marines with stim and combat shields. Going to be finishing up fairly soon. Ooh. Oh, if he gets this +1, that's massive. MARU going to be able to delay that +1, and now trying to get on out. Going to be able to save. Ooh, never mind. Nope. MARU's going to be sandwiched here, not going to be able to save all of his units. They're all going to get killed. Bunny with a good cleanup. Both these players repelling all of the early attacks. But as I was going to say, MARU, his TVT has been looking amazing. His TVP, I think, is still extremely good and is still looking really, really deadly. But his TVZ kind of fallen off. And I think MARU is a great defensive player in the other 2 matches, because even when he's, defending, even when he's the one, that's taking hits, he's able to dictate the engagements, when they happen, and, when he pulls the trigger, and he's able to control all those things in TVT and TVP. And that's why we see Bunny here really struggle to push in. Bunny, he can get into a good siege position, but you can't really push any further. He's running into that block where he's not able to push past the wall of tanks that MARU has set up. And that means that Bunny has to sit his army there, has to try and slow push his tanks, can't really move too far forward, and that allows for MARU to decide when the engagement happens. MARU for these last few games has always had the air advantage, and that means that he can decide, okay, I want to push forward now with my Ravens. I want to get the interference matrices off, and now I'm going to stim on top of your units and force the fight. Because Bunny has kind of been foregoing that, it means that MARU's been able to just deflect every single attack from Bunny thus far. We are seeing, though, Bunny already start on his Raven production. Both players adding on 2 more additional starports, I believe. Yeah. Both players adding on 2 more additional starports to start on that air production. +2/+2 on the way for both players, and their +1 weapon or vehicle weapons, as the 4th and the 5th bases are going to be coming down. So this is kind of going to be going into a macro game, as macro can get in TVT. Planetary fortresses on the way, and really I think the benchmarks here is you're going to be looking at that worker count. You're going to be looking at the air army, especially that Raven count is going to be so important when it comes to these later engagements. And then also the upgrades, as you see MARU is really realizing that this is, that both players are going to be playing passive here, that both are just building up an army. Says, all right, I'm just going to go straight into it. Starts his +2 vehicle weapons, so his tanks are a bit more efficient. Has his +2/+2 finished, and should be starting on that +3 for his infantry as soon as he has the gas available. And you're seeing Bunny as well head into the Corbid reactors. There we go, +3/+3 for MARU. And yeah, this is just going to come down to a macro game. This is going to be all right, well, who can build stuff better? is the simple way to put it. It's pretty much, yeah, I mean, we're both going to build up armies. We're going to try and get a better composition of units to fight each other. And then once we're maxed out, we're going to see who can push better. You know, who can start to get those trades a bit more efficiently. And I have to admit, I do like Bunny's composition a little bit better. He's not that far down on tanks, only down 2, so 9 to 11. And then, as well, has the 3 Ravens. Now, of course, MARU taking that Viking lead is pretty big. Just having that available is... having that Viking advantage just gives you so much more air control. The Ravens, they help you during fights, but if they're not able to get into the fight, they can just kind of be wasted supply. You're seeing both players now going to be going up to 5 starports. A bunch of CCs being added on, 4 for both. So they're going to be trying to get enough orbitals to be able to constantly scan each other's army. At the same time, MARU also finishing up his own corporate reactor. Now, here's something that's happening again. Bunny is not researching his +2 vehicle weapons, and this is the 2nd game in a row that he's done this. In game 2, he caught it, eventually, but he took so many bad trades before it finished that it didn't really matter. And this game, he hasn't even started it, and there's no reason not to. He has almost a 1k bank, and he just hasn't gotten that tank upgrade. You can see here, you know, Bunny trying to push forward, but again, just the superior Viking count makes that 9 possible. It's 17 to 10. If you have scans, you can push as Bunny, but as soon as you run out of scans, you are not going to be able to push this position anymore. As you actually see, oh no, Bunny leaving a bunch of units behind, but nothing scanning them. That's going to be a bunch of tanks cleaned up, and Bunny going to lose this position as MARU moving on in here to try and snipe off this base, the 6th. Not going to be able to get it, and you see now Bunny repositioning as well, saying, you know what, you actually don't get that base, that's fine, I can deal with that. I'm actually just going to try and push across the other way. But that being said, going to be pushing on to 5 tanks for MARU, but all of them are going to be disabled. Bunny with his own siege, going to be able to clean up this entire force, but at the same time losing so much in the air. As those volleys from the Vikings of MARU being able to clean up practically every single Viking for Bunny. As the supplies remain dead even, you're going to now see MARU do what he can to push forward, disables the tanks, forces Bunny to push back. Both players going to be regrouping their armies to try and see what it is for the next stage of this push. And again, it's still Bunny who is the one that's pushing. It is, you know, MARU has been the one sitting back and doing counterattacks. It's been Bunny who's been trying to force the issue. This is a decent siege tank position, but actually Bunny just going to lose 2 tanks immediately. Going to lose a second one here as this one's going to get shelled down. MARU now finishing his 3-3, getting the vehicle plating done. Already working on the ship weapons as well. Or sorry, Bunny finishing his 3-3. MARU's already done. MARU's starting ship weapons, has ship plating on the way, and to be honest, again, MARU has been always ahead in these upgrades and in these late games. That is so important because you want to be able to trade more efficiently. You know, both players are going to have massive banks, of course, if they sit back, but when you rebuild your units, if you have better upgrades, you're just going to trade better. Even if you don't take a good engagement, you're going to trade better, and that means that you're going to have to rebuild that so you'll have more money available to you. And you're seeing MARU here is constantly getting the advantage there. If you look at the upgrades, it's 3-3 versus 3-3. MARU already has his +2 started for his air units, as well as having that +2 for his tank, which Bunny has still not started. Bunny, you almost have a 2k bank. That's what you're working towards. Start the +1. Start the +2. I mean, it's such an important upgrade. Because again, your tanks with +2 one-shot Marines. Your tanks with +2 one-shot Marines. That means that if you have your +2 and your opponent doesn't, as long as you don't take a terrible engagement or fudge anything, you will win that fight. It doesn't matter if your opponent, if you're equal on macro, you will win that fight. And you see MARU is going to be ahead in other upgrades as well, as the +3 vehicle and ship plating has started for him. And we have both players actually putting down fusion cores to start working on BCs. Bunny is in a great spot here. Don't get me wrong. They're both doing very well in the macro, and you see actually Bunny here going to be canceling all of these missile turrets, making sure that MARU can't try and get up that forward position to hold, and actually is going to try and push this on into the third base, going to immediately kill off the tank that was defending that. And MARU going to have to give up this position. MARU actually going to be pushing onto Bunny's static defense of his own. But already you see a CC going down. Good anti-armor missile. Oh, the disables are huge. MARU, just with his Air Force alone, trying to win this fight. The Ravens managing to get everything cleaned up, and the tanks are going to fall. And now Bunny boosting on into the main, doing the Bunny move. As these Marines all orange, trying to see how much damage they can get done. But, I mean, this Air Force is actually insane from MARU. A lot of it getting picked off here as Bunny does manage to target down a few Vikings, but that's 7 Vikings at a time. This Air Force coming through, picking off 2 more tanks for MARU, trying to see if they can trade, but again, this army for MARU, the Air Force at least is stronger, so Bunny has to back off. He can't stay. Picks off the base, gets the Viking count for MARU lower. And all in all, I think it's a decent trade. As you're looking kind of at how these players have traded throughout this game, MARU has actually lost a bit more. Bunny has been trading well. You're seeing that resources lost a bit in favor of Bunny, only by about 3,000 minerals though. Bunny now has a 2k bank actually building up from that trade. Built 3 battle cruisers, starting on his +3 ship attacks, starting the Yamato cannon. Those BCs, meaning that he has a lot of that supply filled. So yeah, this is going to be Bunny now getting maxed out, building up that bank, and there's really nothing that MARU can do to try and trade out units here. Again, MARU's defending. MARU's playing passive. Oh. Again, Bunny doesn't have +2 for his tanks, and MARU's starting on his +3. What does +3 mean to the tank fights? You might say, well, +3, this can't be that much more efficient, but +3 versus +1, I'm pretty sure +3 tanks might 2-shot other tanks. I'm pretty sure they do, and in that case, MARU, again, his tanks are going to have 1-shot Marines. They're going to 2-shot Bunny's tanks. MARU's just going to trade better. He doesn't even have to take a good engagement. MARU will just trade better with this upgraded advantages. Bunny trying to see what he can do. All of the tanks disabled. MARU going to be pushing forward. Going to immediately be able to siege down 2 of them. As he pushes forward 2 more. Another interference matrix. That's going to be 2 more tanks going down at the same time. Bunny, he's going on in with the BCs, trying to see how much damage he can get done. The immediate worker pull, and obviously Bunny's attention focused elsewhere, not going to be able to kill much more. Oh, Bunny could just fly on over and kill about 20 SCVs, but again, not focused on those BCs. Gonna just TP them out as soon as the air army comes, but now at the same time, Bunny gonna be going on into the third. And Bunny finding some great trades here, again, has the bigger bank. So all he has to do is trade out versus MARU's army evenly, and he will be ahead. And this is a good way to start doing it. Already when you're looking at how much these players have lost, again, Bunny trading better. Oh, Bunny actually just stimming in here and trying to clean up this position. It disables a bunch of tanks, trying to stim on in, takes a lot of losses, but eventually cleans it up. And 16 workers going down for MARU. In total has lost 46 this game. That's insane. MARU, he's going to try and push it down, though. He did win a few trades there in a row. But it's not enough. Bunny now pushing on with the BCs. Has Yamato cannon available, so he will be able to kill off all of these missile turrets. trying to pull Maru's attention into multiple different positions at once as, oh no! Leaves behind the full health BC. As now, once again, Bunny pushing on into the third. Trying to get so much damage. And, I mean, sure, you're denying this base. But at this point, I don't even know if MARU cares about that third base. Of course, it's, you know, he doesn't want to lose it. He would love to be able to mine those minerals. But there are more minerals elsewhere for MARU. Oh, MARU gonna try and chase this down. Gonna be able to pick off 2 more tanks, and then MARU gonna take the fight that disables onto 2 more. 4 tanks go down, 6 tanks go down. MARU takes a wonderful trade, and Bunny, as I said, all he needed to do was trade out evenly against MARU, but he has been unable to do that. MARU showing what he's made of here, gritting his teeth. And despite the fact that he is down 4k minerals in the bank, the gas supply is even and he can now mine off of this base. As Bunny, rounding out his +3 upgrades. Everything has +3. Except for his tanks, still. And I have to imagine he forgot it. I think Bunny just forgot it. I can't see that as being a conscious decision when at least now, you know, he has 1k in the bank and he can build it. He could get it. He could upgrade it with no issue. So I imagine Bunny's just forgotten. And again, Bunny, in this position, all you have to do is trade better. You have a larger bank. You know, you have pretty much even armies. In this position, all that Bunny really needs to do is trade out against MARU's army. If he trades evenly, you know, if he gets a good engagement, he will be able to rebuild more. He'll be able to get more units. He'll be able to rebuild better units, higher tech units, because he has more gas and more minerals. That being said, this base is just going to be forfeit for MARU. No units in position to defend it, but behind that, BC is actually TPing on in. And there are no missile turrets for Bunny. That's going to be a whole bunch of SCV kills. Bunny's also going to be going in here onto the other base, trying to see what damage he can get done. There's a lot going down, but the Air Force is getting cleaned up. All of the Vikings go down for Bunny, but all of the tanks go down for MARU. MARU's tank count is reset to 2, but at the same time, he's killed 22 workers of Bunny's. Anyway, unfortunately, he killed 22 workers, but he didn't clean up the base. With that being said, he might just pick off all the tanks here. The Vikings are in position. The Vikings are going to land. And MARU completely wipes out Bunny's army for losing a base, and that is absolutely worth it. Bunny is now going to have to just absolutely sink into his gas bank to try and rebuild. And again, MARU, he's just traded better. He's won every single fight in the past 10 minutes, it feels like. Maybe the one fight that was right here was even. Didn't lose it terribly. But Bunny has been unable to trade efficiently. And now you're seeing the gas bank is even. MARU retaking the base, starting mining again. Both players are going to start running out of minerals. Essentially, I mean, at this point, I believe they're both essentially on 2.5 bases, I would say. And that's being generous. They're mining about as much as you would mine off of 2 bases. It's going to be so hard for either of these players to rebuild their army. It's all about trading efficiently now. As you know, MARU's sitting at that 1k gas bank. Bunny with a bit more at 2.8k, heading back up towards 3,000 minerals. But neither player can rebuild their tech. If either of them loses a significant amount of Ravens, if either of them loses a significant amount of tanks, it is not going to be easy for them to replenish that. And you already see Bunny here is realizing that and is being very, very careful. He's already just producing 8 Marines at a time and focusing on that. I believe he's only mining. He only has 2 gas geysers available. He's actually mined out most of his gas. Again, Bunny has lost a lot more tanks this game. He's lost his battle cruisers as well. So he does not have that gas bank available to be able to rebuild anymore. He's used all of it. He's been mining it for longer. Meanwhile, MARU, who's been trading better, has more gas available. And you're now seeing here when these trades come out, MARU's army is just higher tech. There are no Vikings. No substantial amount of Vikings for Bunny. There's 2. Or there's 4. That's 4 versus 24. They all get 1 shot. Bunny has 6 Ravens, which is of course good, and also has these 2 battle cruisers. So that's kind of getting evened out. But again, it's a hard position here for Bunny. He is going to be able to push on here, get quite a few tank kills. As once again, MARU being set back to 0 tanks available. No tanks for MARU. Here comes the fight. MARU cannot take this. He does not have enough on the ground. The BCs are here. The Marines are trying to fight, but the tank count for Bunny does just mean that MARU can't push down this base. But the air superiority, again, for MARU is so massive. As you're seeing units being rebuilt, 13 Marines on the way for Bunny. Gonna be able to push down this base once again. MARU's not gonna be able to retake it, and that is all of his gas mining that is gonna be gone. MARU having to evacuate his units. He's now down 50 supply, and Bunny, he might have found the trade. He might have found the engagement that he needs to try and win this game. Bunny, you need to push this, I feel. You can't just sit back. It's too, look at the tank count alone. Even missing, even on +1 with your tanks, you have 10 to 2. 4 now as the reinforcements come in, but you can push this as Bunny, but he's not. And now, Yamato Cannon is available as well for MARU. And that's huge because, again, with the air advantage, MARU can protect his BCs and he can Yamato Cannon down tanks. He can start to cut into that tank count for Bunny. And that means that it's going to be down to pure Marines. And while pure Marines are good, well, even if MARU doesn't have a lot of tanks, they're +3 tanks, and they absolutely shred Marines. Bunny, I think he's realizing he needs to trade. He's realizing that he needs to win an engagement, because if he doesn't, MARU, over time, with these 4 battle cruisers, is going to be able to pick away at his army. He's going to be able to slowly but surely get an advantage. Oh, Bunny. Bunny, are you going for this? No. MARU backing up. Saying it's not time to fight as Vikings pushing a bit far forward there, but immediately a Yamato Cannon goes down onto another tank. And that 9 tank count, that 10, 11 tanks has been cut down to 6. Now MARU has, even on the tank count, the air dominance is in favor of MARU. And Bunny, who's the one that has to trade out here? Who's the one, does he, even though he can rebuild, MARU he can try and wait. No, he's going. He's trying to get the Ravens on top. It's not enough. He only gets 2 interference matrices off. The army's trying to push up, but it feels like MARU has the better position. 4 tanks still available. The battle cruisers still reign in the sky. They still are able to absolutely decimate everything. The BC goes down. The Marines are cleaned up. The 3-3 BCs, the air dominance, the Sky Terran for MARU is enough. And he takes a 70 supply lead. Bunny felt like he had to, felt like he was the one that had to trade there. Felt like he was the one that had to, win the engagement. And so he pushed up a ramp, and now it looks like MARU's going to take this game 3. It looks like MARU is going to win this best of 3. The BC doesn't even get picked off. Here's the rest of Bunny's forces. It's not enough. MARU just has overwhelming numbers. And this should be game as the tanks are disabled. MARU's going to push. Bunny, this is all he has left, and it is not enough. GG.